Well, very good morning, Los Angeles, and welcome here to the heart of our city at Los Angeles Trade Tech College, where I'm joined by some extraordinary people, my colleagues who are on both sides, who I'll mention in a moment, members of the community, academic partners, and others. I want to thank, first of all, our host, Dr. Katrina Vanderwood, who is the president of Los Angeles Trade Tech College and has already been a great friend during this pandemic on so many times that we've come here. Thank you for hosting presidents. Thank you for hosting candidates. Thank you for hosting change that has happened in the city. And I want to thank also Councilmember Curran Price and his team who have helped set this up. Let's give both of them a round of applause here in the 9th District, here at Trade Tech College, to thank them for us getting together here today. Also joined by our City Council President, Nury Martinez, as well as Councilmember Marquis Dawson. And they, together with their colleagues, but especially them, have been champions of what we are announcing here today. We're here today to take a big leap and to kick off a program called Big Leap. It's a name that perfectly captures what we're doing here in LA, because we're taking a big leap forward in our generational fight to end poverty, to break the back of our addiction to poverty here in America. We're going to achieve greater racial equity. We're going to see better health outcomes, better educational outcomes, and show that targeted investments and trusting people who live in poverty to find their own routes out is a much cheaper way in the long term than keeping a nation full of poor people. A big leap to stability and opportunity for more than 3,200 families who today we are announcing across Los Angeles will receive $1,000 monthly checks through this program. This is also a big leap forward for our country because we don't do this in a vacuum. And while we're very proud, Los Angeles by far is the largest city and the largest program to join with guaranteed basic income advocates across the country. We are showing our national government a national model of what we can do. And I have to say here, the timing couldn't be better. And I hope everybody here will pick up the phone today and call your representatives in Washington. This is a critical week to make sure that our national experiment, inspired by cities like ours, that started at a smaller level but a deeply impactful one with a child tax credit given in cash now directly to families throughout the year, something that could cut childhood poverty in half in America. Let me repeat that. Could cut childhood poverty in half in America. This is the week we want the nation to be inspired by our big leap forward. This is big. We're talking about the largest guaranteed basic income program anywhere in the United States of America. A $38 million investment that wouldn't be possible without the leaders who are by my side. And I also want to thank our general manager, Abigail Marquez, and her incredible team at the new Community Investment for Families Department. That was something that the City Council President has championed, that both council members here have as well, to focus on families, even though the city often doesn't have those tranches of funding for social services, for child care, for the foster care system. Those are often at the state or the county level. But we're committed, and CIFD will be administering this program with great support from both the Center for Guaranteed Income Research, which is a partnership with the University of Pennsylvania, and just down the street from here, or across the street from here, the University of Southern California. Our academic partners are there because we want this to be accountable to the people. They will document, they will study the pilot, they will look at those who receive this money and a control group of those who are poor not getting that money to show the difference this money makes. Our academic partners are going to show the impact of a guaranteed basic income on people's mental health, on their food security, on their housing security, employment, on their houselessness, on parenting, family dynamics, and so much more. And because we have so many people, we will be able to have the largest pool. Think about that, 3,200 families, so well over 10,000 Angelenos who will be affected, maybe even 12,000, will allow us to be able to see the impact and to be able to see that by neighborhood, by ethnicity, by age, by family type, etc. Our goal is twofold. We're looking to help, first and foremost, people to break out of poverty. And because a majority of Angelenos who live below the poverty line are Angelenos of color, we see guaranteed basic income as a means of building a stronger social safety net and as an instrument of racial equality. With this pilot, we're also creating a model showing what's possible when we set an income floor. Here in America, people should not go without. What people no longer struggling to meet their basic needs can accomplish is what we will show. The changes they can make in their lives, the dreams they can achieve for themselves and for their families. And here's the thing about guaranteed basic income. We've seen it already work. We have good data from Stockton, where my good friend, former Mayor Michael Tubbs, who's now an Angeleno. I don't know, is Michael here today? Couldn't make it? He lives in the 8th district, for the record. He launched the first significant GBI pilot, building on some preliminary work a year before in Jackson, Mississippi. In a 2-year study of a similar program like this in Stockton, folks who received a monthly income reported feeling less exhausted and anxious than those in the control group. They spent more time with their kids, which meant those kids got help with things like homework and are going to have better graduation rates. They landed full-time employment because they could afford to take that job interview that before they couldn't. Maybe instead of 2 jobs, they could have 1. And they were able to get full-time employment more than twice the rate of non-recipients. There's so many myths about poverty. People say if you give poor people money, they're going to spend it recklessly. Well, let me debunk that myth. Because during this pandemic, thanks to all the folks that are watching here today, the Angeleno card, which with my colleagues we raised over $75 million to give in cash to folks, we were able to track, not by person of course, don't worry, anonymized data, track where people spent that money. It was on food, it was on rent, it was on healthcare, it was on their children. It was on escaping poverty. And we have full evidence of what can happen when the federal government steps up. And that's really what this movement is about. Cities doing this across America, now dozens of them, including cities that soon will follow here. Long Beach, Compton has already begun, the county of Los Angeles and others. But we know the federal government needs to be inspired to take this nationally. And the beginning of this pandemic, a basic income, after the first federal relief checks made their way to mailboxes and bank accounts across the country, in the worst economic moment of our lifetimes, we actually reduced poverty in America. Isn't that stunning? Child poverty dropped 20% nationally, and it's projected with the American Rescue Plan to be cut by more than half. And if the reconciliation bill goes, we can make that a permanent cut as well. So I was proud to found with Mayor Tubbs, Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, which really should be Cities for a Guaranteed Income, a group that has grown from 11 of us initially to 60 different cities. And momentum is growing across this country, from Mississippi to Minnesota, and I'm so proud Los Angeles is leading the charge. As I mentioned, at $38 million, ours is the largest program in the country, in both absolute dollars and the number of people served. And here's how it's going to work. 3,200 households will receive $1,000 a month for an entire year. I was asked the question yesterday, could it continue beyond that year? Of course. That'll be a decision in our next year's budget and looking at our federal partnership as well. But all these households will include at least 1 child, because kids are about a third of the Angelenos who live in poverty. There will be no questions asked, no strings attached, no obligations, no work requirements. Now, for some who have attacked programs like that in the past, they say, well, then there's no accountability. But we have the evidence that shows otherwise during the pandemic. And of course, $1,000 a month isn't enough to replace work. So anybody who thinks that people are going to be able to not work, we know that the poor work in Los Angeles, work harder than almost anybody else, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs. But for families struggling to meet their basic needs, it's the difference between getting an education or a better job, affording childcare, accessing critical health care, going for that checkup instead of going to an emergency room. We're making a steady investment in Angeleno households. And if we can help these 10,000 plus Angelenos escape from poverty in just a few years, it will be shown as the model that we can spread throughout Los Angeles and across this country. And it's not going to exist in a vacuum. We're not looking at this program on its own. It'll join other efforts that are available to everybody, like our Children's Savings Account program, to give every young person in Los Angeles a savings account. The Angeleno Corps, which provides young people with hands-on work experience, including a program where we're paying older siblings to teach and get paid for tutoring their younger siblings, to help them provide for the family and help their younger siblings out with homework. The city's $12 million investment, LA Repair, which is participatory budgeting around racial justice pilots across the country. And it's going to follow the pattern of other programs we've rolled out that might have seemed impossible or impractical at first glance, but are changing the way we think, like free transit. I remember Councilmember Mike Bonin recently talked about one of the unhoused individuals who came off of the boardwalk in Venice, and he's now in a hotel room. And he was able to get a job, and because through that we got free metro passes, he literally said, that free bus fare is the difference between whether I can have that job across town or not. Every little bit matters. And now transit is free for every K through 14, every community college student that goes here. Free transit, not only on LA Dash buses, but now at Metro as well. Or LA College Promise, which was what we said 8 years ago we would produce, and together with our community college district, inspired the state to follow, and community college is now free, not just in LA, but across California. So Big Leap is not an island. It is in an ocean of programs and of strategies, because we don't want to manage poverty, we want to end poverty. So let me tell you how you can apply. The application period for Big Leap is October 29th through November 7th. So to learn more and to begin to apply, go to bigleap.lacity.org. And let me also thank one other person, who's my Deputy Chief of Staff, Andre Herndon, who has put blood, sweat, and tears into the design of this and talked to folks around the country. Please give him a round of applause and thank him for the great work he has done to make this happen. While these plans were brewing for a citywide program, one council member stepped forward and said, I'm ready to go now. We happen to be in his district. And when we connected the streams, I think we both were excited that he had a mayor that was working on this. I had a council member, and then other council members too, who were ready to leap out of the starting line on this. And his leadership is a big reason why we are here today. He's had a long history of stepping up for Angelenos and Californians. He's expanded access to healthy food in what were used to be food deserts in his district. He's fought for hazard pay for grocery workers during the pandemic who are putting their lives on the line. And he has done an extraordinary job pushing forward this fight to end poverty. He's stepping up in his own district with discretionary dollars that he controlled too to make this even a bigger leap. Please welcome Councilmember Curran Price.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to just personally thank you for your leadership in this effort and your team, the city team, that's come together to really make this project happen, along with my council colleagues. You know, I'm proud to host this monumental announcement today as we embark upon the nation's largest guaranteed income pilot ever seen. And I'm just so proud that it's happening right here in our town. Now, some might ask, well, why Council District 9? Well, 9 is home to some of the most marginalized neighborhoods in our city. Most marginalized. Highest rates of poverty, highest rates of dropouts. It's quite evident from our essential workers who have been at the forefront to our street vendors who work from sunup to sundown with unpredictable earnings, to single mothers and fathers who are forced to work multiple jobs, many times without benefits, just to make ends meet. And of course, the mixed immigration status families who live under a constant threat of uncertainty on whether they'll be separated from a primary breadwinner. With the median income, yearly income of less than $30,000, this community, our community, struggles day in and day out to maintain the most basic necessities. Sadly, this pandemic has only exacerbated the racial wealth gap, and it's laid bare a mountain of inequities that impact us all. And so that's why we're excited, because this big leap is going to help bridge that divide. It's not going to eliminate it, but it's going to help bridge it. The idea of a guaranteed income pilot program is one that my office has been following for years with a great deal of interest. And so, again, another shout out to Mayor Michael Tubbs, who's not with us today, but has been a strong supporter, firm in this program, former mayor of Stockton, for his vision, and he has really paved the way, along with our mayor, for numerous cities across this country who have the vision of guaranteed basic income. And of course, it's important to note that when we launch this program, we want to show that it's not just a blip, but this is a real program that can have real success, and it can be replicated on a larger scale. So again, I want to thank the activists, for example, who helped push the city to consider a program like this. The reason I was able to announce a $6 million program for my district was because organizations like Black Lives Matter called upon us to cut the budget and reinvest those funds in the community. Cut the budget and reinvest the funds. With many of you, I marched alongside folks and, to fight for change. As a member of the Budget Committee, I certainly fought for expenditures that would more accurately reflect our values and our concerns. And under the leadership of Council President Nuri Martinez, we took a stand in the name of justice and equality. And with my colleague, Marquis Dawson, and other members of the council, we're delivering on a pledge to uplift disenfranchised communities. It's just a start. The initial $6 million investment from CD9 has evolved into nearly $40 million citywide, as the mayor said. Between my initial proposal and the mayor's commitment, we're going to be investing more than $9 million right here in CD9 alone. And so I'm grateful for my colleagues, including our council president, Nuri Martinez, my colleague, Marquis Dawson, and others, for stepping up in a big way for their constituents as well. We continue to make history as we push forward a progressive agenda that puts families first. What a concept, putting families first. The times we're living in require real investments in real lives. And here in CD9, we take a stand and we want to make the biggest impact possible. So mark my words, District 9 is going to be the epicenter of Big Leap here in our city. Here is where more than 780 families are going to be turning the corner. For my staff and I, it's personal. Not only were we the first to commit to a guaranteed basic income program in LA, but we're going to be mobilizing the community in a big way. For the next 10 days, to assist in the application process, I'm going to be opening the doors of my district office for our neighbors who might not have a computer or access to the internet. So we're creating these hubs all around our district to make it easier for people to sign up, to get information, and become involved. Our Family Source Center at All People's Community Church is going to serve as a welcoming center as well. And of course, right here at Trade Tech, we're going to be opening up an application assistance center as well. And so everybody is involved. In all, we're going to be galvanizing 6 centers, 6 hubs to assist in the application process. Let me just go off script for a minute and again thank our President Vanderwood for her support here at Trade Tech College. And let's give a shout out also to Chef Barton Gillian, the chair of the Culinary Arts Department here, who provided a gracious, very breakfast for us, and we appreciate that. But Dr. Vanderwood, again, I just want to thank you for your leadership. And a note, families who are parents to college students are eligible to apply. This includes college students who are parents as well, and so everyone is involved. As I mentioned, Trade Tech is going to be one of 6 application centers right here in my district, and we want to make this program accessible, available, and easy to join. And Mayor, with your permission, let me just invite Dr. Vanderwood up for a minute just to give some brief remarks and underscore the collaboration and cooperation we have together. Doctor?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Price. I want to first of all say welcome. Welcome and thank you for this opportunity. Welcome to all of you who are here. This is a fabulous opportunity for our community. Thank you so much. This is a fabulous opportunity for our community and for LA Trade Tech College as a partner. I want to personally welcome everyone here to LATTC today. Know that we are proud, once again, to stand with you for the kickoff for another initiative for our community that will transform lives. Councilmember Price reached out to ask not only if LA Trade Tech College would be willing to host today's kickoff for Big Leap, but also if we would consider acting as an application site for families in our community who need a helping hand. Of course, my answer was a resounding yes on both counts. Our student population and their families are exactly who this program is designed for. We appreciate all of you being here today. I continue to welcome you back to Trade, and we are here to partner and change lives through partnership and education. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Doctor. Let me just thank Team Price, who's in the house, again, for your support, for your leadership, for your commitment to this. And Mayor, let there be no doubt, Team Price is all in, all hands on deck, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Member. Thank you to you and your team. Thank you again, Dr. Vanderwood, for hosting us and for assisting us as well moving forward. Now I'd like to pass the mic to our Council President, Nuri Martinez, who's always fighting for LA's families. Whether it was leading the launch of the country's first and largest emergency rental assistance program last year, or joining me in advancing a justice budget that we co-wrote to address racial inequities, to give family opportunities, and to reduce poverty. And it funds something I know that's been a passion of hers for a long time, the city's first community investment for the Families Department. Please welcome Council President Martinez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everyone. I'm proud to stand here today with Mayor Garcetti, Council Members Price and Harris Dawson, as we launch the Big Leap. One of the greatest problems facing our country today is a widening gap of income inequality. And we can see it right here in Los Angeles. In the last 35 years, pay rose by 3% for those in the bottom 10% in our city. Yet the workers at the top, it rose by 69%. Simply speaking, in the last 35 years, the rich in Los Angeles got richer, and the rest, let's just say, they just couldn't keep up. Right now, poverty affects 2 out of every 10 residents in our city, and the majority of these individuals are people of color. This is unacceptable. 1/3 of the working adults in Los Angeles aren't able to support their families with full-time work alone. That's why 31% of the Angelenos currently affected by poverty are children. Angelenos are working 40+ hours a week and still can't make ends meet. But here in Los Angeles, we pride ourselves on leading the way when it comes to innovative policies and solutions. And I just want to specifically recognize and thank Councilmember Curran Price for his leadership on this. When we were allocating the reinvestment funds at the start of this year, Councilmember Price was the first to propose universal income program in Los Angeles for the residents of the 9th District. Yeah. And today we're here to expand the program as we launch the largest pilot demonstration on guaranteed basic income program in this country. This marks a milestone in our progress towards more equality here in our city. This pilot program will allow us to provide monthly assistance to approximately 3,000 families across the city for an entire year. These extra funds will help families who are currently in debt from simple living expenses. This program will be a lifeline to families who wouldn't be able to afford a $500 emergency if it were to occur today. And if we are successful, this program would be a model for other cities across the country. Half of the people who are previously struggling to pay unexpected expenses, after a year in this program, are able to pay for those expenses in cash. And mentally, physically, and emotionally health are all improved because this is something less stressful for them in their life. They don't have to worry about the next paycheck to be able to make ends meet. This is what we hope to achieve here in Los Angeles through this program. Although this is just a pilot for now, we are excited to see the prosperity that it would bring for our city and the impact that these funds will have on the lives of so many Angelenos. Are there any media in Spanish? I'd like to say a few words. Sí, sí, okay, bueno. Bueno, buenos días. Estoy muy orgullosa de estar aquí en este día con el alcalde Eric Garcetti, los miembros del concilio, Mr. Price y Mr. Harris Dawson, mientras lanzamos Big Leap. Actualmente la pobreza afecta a 2 de 10 residentes en nuestra ciudad. La mayoría son individuos de personas de color o minorías en nuestra ciudad. Y un tercio de estos adultos trabajan en Los Ángeles, son capaces de mantener sus familias solamente con un cheque y trabajando un tiempo completo. Por eso el 31% de los angelinos actualmente afectados por la pobreza son niños. Los angelinos están trabajando más de 40 horas a la semana y simplemente no es suficiente para mantener a sus familias. Por eso estoy muy orgullosa que en estar aquí vamos a lanzar este programa de Guaranteed Basic Income, ingreso básico garantizado, que sería una demostración pilota más grande en este país. Este programa nos permitirá dar asistencia mensual a 3,000 familias a través de nuestra ciudad por un año entero. Estos fondos accionales ayudarán a muchas familias a obtener y ayudarse actualmente en una deuda y en gastos básicos de todos los días. Estas familias, desafortunadamente, si tienen una emergencia que cuesta más de $500, simplemente no lo tienen para cubrirlos. Por eso es de que estas familias se mantienen con sus trabajos, muchas de las mayorías 2 o 3 trabajos para poder sostenerse. Estoy muy orgullosa del concejal Curran Price, que fue el primer concejal al primer del año que lanzó la idea de este programa en su distrito, y estoy muy orgullosa de estar aquí acompañándolo para poder ayudar a más familias, no nomás en su distrito, pero a través de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Council President, so much. Y hablaré en español después de la próxima hablador. With that, I'm going to invite Councilmember Marquis Harris Dawson, who came of age fighting for racial and economic justice, who built organizations around that. And when he arrived at City Hall, this was, I know for him, a focus from the very start. It's been a no-brainer. He has put this forward in the discretionary funds he has as well. He's always put economic development for our city as well as his district front and center in his district. Please welcome Councilmember Marquis Harris Dawson.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I know you have on masks, but we can still hear from you. It's a good day in the city of Los Angeles, and we have some good news to announce. So I'm happy to be here. The sun is shining. Things could not be better for these moments this morning. I'm very excited to support the Guaranteed Basic Income program for the city of Los Angeles. I'm very grateful for our mayor for always being on the front lines in the war on poverty, and understanding that it is poverty that impacts our communities and causes a lot of the challenges that we see. I want to also congratulate and thank my council president for making a way for this idea. This is an idea that people said couldn't happen, or you can't just give people money, or you shouldn't just give people money. Our council president did not hesitate to create that path, and I'm very grateful to her. And Councilman Price, I want to join in the chorus for him. And I have to say, everybody's congratulating him and clapping for him. And when I first heard about this, Councilman, I was just a little bit upset with you. I was just upset that I didn't think of it first. Mr. Price stepped out before anybody and said, we're going to have a guaranteed basic program here in the city of Los Angeles, and it's going to be robust, and the heart of it is going to be our hardest hit part of our city, District 9. So let's give Councilmember Price a big round of applause. There's a lot of ways to respond to poverty. Some in our society look down at someone in a financial hole and they say, it's your fault that you're down there. And they blame the people that are in the hole. There are others of us who say, it really is bad that you're in that hole, but there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Too bad for you. And then there are those like Councilman Price, like Mayor Garcetti, like Council President Martinez, who says, we're going to send down a ladder. And we're going to give you a ladder, and we're going to say you can climb at your own pace. You can decide for your family how you want to address the situation and what you need to create the life that you deserve in your families. And so we know that around the world, there are 130 countries that do this. The United States, unfortunately, is a little bit behind. I'm proud that here in Los Angeles, we are leading the way. When Councilman Price put his proposal forward, it was almost like the county and other cities start tripping over themselves to do it as well. And so now we'll have a robust, guaranteed basic income program here in Los Angeles, but in other places as well. And one that I'm especially proud of is in the southern part of my district, where District 9, District 15, and District 8 meet, around the 105 and the 110. Our paper referred to that area as Death Alley because the crime and violence was so high. Because Councilman Price put his program forward and we passed it through the council, the County of Los Angeles also joined in. And so we're going to have a special pilot in that area to show that when people don't have a financial foot on their neck, that people make better decisions on their own. Is that all right? And so we're very excited about what will happen going forward. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be here at Trade Tech, Dr. Vanderwood, because in Stockton, one of the things we learned, one of the things I learned from my new neighbor, the former mayor of Stockton, one of the things I learned is the most common feature of every family that got guaranteed basic income in Stockton, the most common thing that was done was that people got better jobs. People could afford to do that union apprenticeship program. Dr. Vanderwood, you get ready. I see all the construction across the street. Get ready, because I think more people are going to come to Trade Tech to get a training or to get a certification to get a better job, because people understand fundamentally what they need for their family. And what I know about our folks, because we see them every day. We see them getting on the bus at 5:30 in the morning. We see them getting off the bus at 7 o'clock at night. We see them trying to figure out what to do with their kids between the time school ends and they can get home from work. We know that with just a little bit of opportunity, our people will achieve beyond our wildest dreams. So again, thank you to everybody that's been a part of this project. We look forward to what Los Angeles will be tomorrow and a week from now and a year from now and in generations to come.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Harris Dawson. Our goal was to make sure everybody has the sun in their eyes, so that's been achieved. Sorry about it. I'm sure it works out for better shots, or I hope it works for better shots for everybody. But two people who have really, as I mentioned before, done the logistics of this, because it's one thing for us as policymakers to say we're going to do this, but it's another thing to implement it. I mentioned one who is Andre Herndon, my Deputy Chief of Staff, who we started these conversations a couple of years ago with cities across the country and kind of dug in with the academics, done a ton of work. And Abigail Marquez, our final speaker, and then I'll come back in Spanish as well, is really the woman who will lead this in Los Angeles. It will be her and her team. I've known her since I was a council member, and we looked at all the programs we had in Los Angeles for families that were scattered, 15 things in 15 different places with 15 different organizations. And it was with her when I was chair of a committee that oversaw our housing department, our community development department agency at the time, and others, to try to consolidate these together. And those became the Family Source Centers. She's the mother of the Family Source Centers. She's an amazing policymaker, a great doer, and we're so proud she will be the field marshal for the Big Leap Forward. Please welcome Abigail Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. No pressure at all. It's an honor for me to join you this morning, our distinguished elected leaders that are here today, to announce this incredible program. I was personally so excited. I couldn't even sleep last night. I was just waiting. We've been a collective group that has been working on this program, and we've been waiting for this day for many, many, many days. So we're excited to be here. I am proud to be designated as the administrators of this program. Big Leap directly aligns with our department's mission to break the vicious and pervasive cycle of generational poverty. Although we are a new department, our work and commitment to advance programs and policies aimed at improving the financial stability of low-income working households is not new. We managed, and we have been managing for many, many years, various programs that serve families facing poverty before the pandemic, which we know existed. And sadly, these are the same families who were hardest hit during the pandemic. Shortly after the stay-at-home order was issued, we quickly activated our Family Source system, and thank you, Mayor, for acknowledging them. And I too want to acknowledge our Family Source system. And we have a number of our providers who are here today. Raise your hand if you're a Family Source agency that we work with. See, they're modest. They're all back there, and there's some here. But when the world shut down, our Family Source centers did not. Our Family Source centers serve, in any given year, 40 to 50,000 unduplicated low-income residents across the city. These are families that are making $19,000, $20,000 a year, working full-time, and still unable to make ends meet. When the Safer at Home order was issued through the mayor's fund and the mayor himself, the mayor raised close to $37 million, and it was our Family Source Center system who got those dollars out the door quicker than, I will say, some state and federal agencies. In a period of 8 to 10 weeks, our Family Source providers reached 37,000, close to 36,000 Angelenos, and helped to distribute $37 million in emergency cash assistance. They were the ones who opened their doors and had lines around their building, helping people who were in need of fresh produce because they weren't making enough to put food on the table. And so because of them, we're very proud to serve as the administrators of this program. They will be helping to meet with the families once they're selected, to go over their benefits and ensure that they enroll in the program successfully. We have also supported through our system, just very briefly, the emergency rental assistance program, eviction defense program, programs that were led by the council president and the city council. And again, today, they continue to provide case management services and financial counseling to low-income Angelenos across the city. We know the unfortunate realities of the pandemic will linger for many people beyond the pandemic itself. Big Leap has the potential to significantly change the lives of over 3,000 Angelenos and their families, and can significantly impact the way we respond to the diverse needs of low-income households, the working poor, people who are working every day, often more than one full-time job, and don't have enough to make ends meet. I am really, really proud of the efforts and the work that the mayor and the city council has led. I'm so proud to be a public servant in the city of Los Angeles. I think many of us can say that we've never worked harder than we've worked in these last 18 months, and we'll do it over and over again. And I mean, I'm not one to shy away from more hard work, and I don't think anyone here. But what I will say, despite our best efforts, we've been limited in our ability to provide direct cash assistance to low-income families. Through Big Leap, we hope to be able to gather data and make a case to our state and federal partners to remove unnecessary restrictions and regulations that, quite frankly, are dated. The one thing that we have learned from COVID is that we can be innovative and we can approach our work differently. We have the opportunity to change the narrative around how supportive services are provided and let Angelenos know that we trust you, we believe in you, and we know that you are the best person to make decisions to address your family's needs. The infusion of these additional funds will help families meet their basic needs, prepare for an unexpected emergency, and reach their financial goals that are tangible, not just aspirational. Maybe it's buying a car so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 hours commuting to and from work, and you can spend that extra time helping your child with their homework or having dinner with them. It's that extra cash to buy a special formula because your child, your baby has allergies to the generic formula. And I don't know if people even realize that formula is usually locked up behind a cabinet at most grocery stores, and it sells for almost $30 a container. I don't know if people realize that. And these are things that we take for granted, that low-income families need to meet their most basic needs. Having the resources to put down a security deposit so that families that are doubled up or tripled up in apartments can finally have a space of their own. This is the reality that so many of our families that we serve through our family source system. And we're so very excited about the potential to permanently stabilize households and change policy so that we have the ability to support communities that need our help the most. So I just want to end with one last final round of shout outs, because that's just what we do. I want to just thank the mayor for your vision and for your leadership. I can't believe we've been working together for almost 2 decades. I actually get to dye my hair. You don't. But I also want to thank your team, your incredible team, Andre and Jean Holm, and everyone on the mayor's team who helped make this day possible. To Councilmember Curran Price, you know, sir, that this district has a special place in my heart. It's where I grew up. It's where my parents met almost 50 years ago. And this is home to me. So thank you for your leadership and the team for helping to make today happen. To our council president, as was mentioned, a key architect in the creation of our department, the Community Investment for Families Department, and for your leadership to implement a Families First agenda. And of course to Councilmember Harris Dawson, for your relentless efforts and your commitment to bring the unseen out of the shadows. And to the amazing staff, the council staff that we've worked with, we've been working together for almost a year. We meet at least once a week, and sometimes more than once a week, and have multiple sidebar conversations to make sure that we're crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's. And lastly, to the team at the Community Investment for Families Department. I am very biased, but I have to say that we have among the most dedicated and talented public servants in the city. I'm so honored to work alongside them every day. So thank you to our partners. We have Dr. Kim here from USC, and our partners at the University of Pennsylvania, the Center for Guaranteed Basic Income Research, and the Mayor's Fund, Deidre, for your support. The Mayor's Fund for Los Angeles is covering some of the administrative costs for the program. Thank you, Deidre, for your support. And I am also happy to say a few words in Spanish if that's needed. ¿Sí? Okay. Bueno, brevemente. Buenos días, de nuevo, mi nombre es Abigail Márquez y soy la gerente general del Departamento de Inversiones Comunitarias de la Ciudad de Los Ángeles. Estamos muy orgullosos de ser designados los administradores de este programa. Big Leap se alinea directamente con la misión de nuestro departamento de romper el círculo de la pobreza generacional. Este programa tiene el potencial de cambiar significativamente las vidas de más de 3,000 angelinos y sus familias, y puede mejorar la forma en que respondemos a las necesidades de los hogares en forma que son de bajos ingresos. Los trabajadores, las personas que trabajan todos los días, muchas veces más de un trabajo de tiempo completo, y todavía no tienen lo suficiente para cumplir con los gastos del fin de mes. Tenemos la oportunidad de cambiar la narrativa sobre cómo se brindan los servicios de apoyo y hacerlo saber a los angelinos que confiamos en usted, creemos en usted y sabemos que si les brindamos los recursos adecuados, ustedes son la mejor persona para abordar los problemas de su familia. La infusión de estos fondos adicionales ayudará a las familias a satisfacer sus necesidades básicas, prepararse para una emergencia inesperada y alcanzar sus metas financieras. Tal vez sea comprar un automóvil, tener dinero para no tener que viajar por autobús y poder pasar la tarde con su hijo para hacer la tarea. De nuevo, estamos muy orgullosos de este programa y vamos a seguir trabajando juntos a seguir a implementar el programa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Abigail. And we'll be answering questions, and we're very lucky to have Elizabeth Kim, Dr. Byokung Elizabeth Kim here. And I want to thank you for your great work and the work you'll do if there's any technical questions. But también en español, yo quiero decir unas palabras. Muy buenos días a todos. And I know there's a council meeting, so if the council members leave, it does not reflect their support of this. We wouldn't do this without them, but there's a little thing called a quorum that I know they have to meet. El día de hoy estamos aquí para dar inicio al programa Big Leap, el programa más grande de ingresos básicos garantizados en toda la nación. Con esta inversión de 38 millones de dólares, la ciudad está tomando un gran paso para acabar con el ciclo de pobreza y alcanzar equidad racial en Los Ángeles. Por medio de este programa piloto, más de 3.200 familias, más de 10,000 personas por todos Los Ángeles recibirán un cheque mensual de $1,000. Para familias que se las hace difícil cubrir necesidades básicas, estos fondos harán una gran diferencia. No tendrán que escoger entre obtener una educación, un mejor trabajo, costear cuidado infantil o hacer cuidado de salud. Con Big Leap estamos haciendo pequeñas pero firmes inversiones en los hogares de Los Ángeles y estamos apostando en grandes ganancias para la salud y estabilidad en nuestra ciudad. Gracias a este equipo, el concejal de este distrito, el primero en el Consejo Municipal con este programa, Karen Price, la presidenta del Consejo Municipal, Nuri Martínez, y el concejal también del Distrito 8, Marquis Dawson, y todos los miembros de este equipo, incluyendo el Departamento de Inversiones, Comunidades de Familias. El periodo de aplicación empieza el 29 de octubre hasta el 7 de noviembre. Y para aprender más y aplicar, empezando este viernes, visite la página bigleap.lacity.org o llámanos a 311 si no tiene acceso al Internet.